internal family systems therapy, and the idea is that you have a family or like people in your brain, and often these people have different roles. They can be firefighters, or people that alert you, or people that want to protect you, usually resulting from certain traumas that you had.
By listening, listening to your body and your brain where the problem is, so something is vibrating wrong. It's not there is something. What is draining? What is keeping you from your natural flow? So there is something to have techniques to basically go there and not just be right in fight or flight mode.
Welcome to another episode of the Love Not Fear podcast, where Eduard and I geek out on how we can make more decisions in our lives out of love and not out of fear. Eduard, what is our topic today?
Hello. First of all, I'm really glad that we're back on track. The podcast is called Love Not Fear, but I personally I I'm looking into fear. I'm playing with it. I'm trying to get a grasp of it, and I found it immensely interesting. I find new layers in dealing with fear and knowing what it is all the time. And so I'd like to discuss the topic of when fear controls us. That's when we probably invest more in the problem than in the solution. So let's play with fear some more, and we will do this extensively because it taps all it's all interlinked and immensely interesting to see what is happening in you, what is happening in your body and in your mind. Is it on the same page? What is it that you can do to control it? We spoke about breathing, we spoke about routines, but today I'd like to zoom out a little bit and see, okay, what is it? What is it? What is this emotion? Um, Fear or anxiety is basically chemically and physically the same emotion as excitement. So could it be that I or a person uh, turns to fear to get a certain level of adrenaline? Or so could it be that in time people are becoming fear junkies?
I've- I- There's, I think Tony Robbins talks about this your emotional home.
Hmm.
So I think people like to be in their emotional home because they're used to it, even though if it's like a state of depression or something that's not good, but it's easy to retreat to your home, right? On the notion of like becoming fear junkies, I'm not sure if people can be fear junkies, but people can be definitely misery junkies because misery likes company. People like to complain, and in German, complaining is really nice. Beschweren means like to make something heavier. Basically, you put something on your back, you make yourself heavier when you complain about something.
Okay.
Um, so what you said with like if you or the title of the podcast is fear when we focus more on the problem than the solution. I think this is 100% true. If
Yeah.
I you know I very fast switch to like, okay, what can we do? I always want to be in control and not
Hmm.
just focus on the problem. Like, oh, this is bad, like whatever this, my wife does this person does this, the government does this. If I'm in the state of, I guess, blaming, then it's nothing good will ever come from this. It's all about like accepting the situation and focusing on what I can impact, and then I feel way better because I'm not in a victim position.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you as a very actionable guy. It doesn't take you long to make an opinion and to get into action mode. But I'd like to focus a little bit. What happens if we focus and look at what happens in our body? What is it that we're afraid of, and why are we complaining? Maybe there's a lesson in that. And we often let's keep it personal. I often try to linger in this feeling instead of taking a step back, observing it. Where does it resonate? What am I blocking? Where is the blockage? What is the bigger message? So that's why talking to strangers that ask you a few times the question why, you find yourself really looking for the answers. What it is that motivates you, what it is that you're basically trying to do. I mean, let's face it, we're here on this planet not to make it to the next day. So as long as we've got our basics
Mm.
covered, that means we have choices, but we have mental choices as well to develop a mind, yeah, a frame how we look at things. So looking at these obstacles, what message lies in the obstacles instead of freezing and see if they will go away, or going straight into fight mode to remove these obstacles. I'm a big advocate in listening to them a bit more, and yeah, not just immediately waving them away, but um, yeah, maybe um, don't. I'm trying sometimes not to personalize with my thoughts, so I'm looking at the third person. I mean, the brain probably never gives you 100% correct advice. It tries to keep you from a from feelings that are bad, from disappointment, from resentment. But by doing that, it is blocking the state of natural flow. Are you still with me there?
Mm, to some degree, I think I'm pretty good with stopping myself. If something feels good, I lean in. It's cool. If something doesn't feel good, I always like, okay, hard stop. Why does this not feel good? Taking a step back and analyzing the situation. This I've turned this into a habit and it has been serving me really well, to not linger in a bad state, and also kind of like obsessing over negative things or obsessing over problems. I think it's just better to just, even if you cannot do anything about it, just accept that it is what it is and let it. Maybe the universe will take care of it, and not giving it too much energy. So I think like if you can probably even, I mean, it's very hippie, like law of attraction esque. But if you just focus on problems and then negativity, I think you get more negativities coming in your life. I'm reading a book right now called Reality Surfing, by a Russian, what's it called? By a Russian scientist. And it talks about this as well, that don't obsess over problems. Just like, don't invest emotionally into problems, because you'll attract more of them.
Have you ever played with looking at your thoughts from a third person instead of um, so like making your thoughts more abstract and challenging your own thoughts?
All the time, every time
Yeah.
when I, for example, also when I like, think about somebody. Oh, that idiot, why is this idiot, it's so stupid to do this. The immediate thing that comes to my mind, taking a step back, like, okay, why am I the idiot? Why am I doing maybe something similar? So I'm like highly reflective on everything that I'm doing. um
I even heard of people giving their
Aphantasia
brains
benefits.
a name so they can talk about their brain and and the tricks they play on people. So think of that, naming, giving
Reading,
your brain a
yeah.
stupid name, so you can say, "Hey, shut up." If you name your brain
It's
Charlie and Charlie is nagging again, and say,
yeah.
"Oh man, Charlie, shut the fuck up." It's just an example, but it's nice. I mean, it's we are not our thoughts. So creating distance, I'm playing with that, creating distance between what you feel now, and I mean, during the day, it has to do with emotions, it has to do with alpha, beta, theta brain. What is your brain? I mean, to know more about this, and it will definitely help people to be more happy. Definitely.
Are you familiar with IFS therapy?
IF No, I'm not. IFS.
It's internal family systems therapy, and the idea is that you have a family, or like people, in your brain, and often these people have different roles. They can be firefighters, or people that alert you, or people that want to protect you, usually resulting from certain traumas that you had. And whenever you want to do something, and then this like, this protector comes, is like, no, don't do this, we're scared of this, because like you had like some unpleasant childhood experience. Often these protectors are holding us back from like really, stepping, or like, I guess they're like really, this is the fear talking, or like, like Charlie, or like there's not only Charlie, there's like a few of those in our brains. And this concept talks about that you give them names, and that you communicate with them and ask them like, hey, or like, almost like have a conversation with them, like, hey, thank you for protecting me, and to talk this through. And in the book, they with one patient, the guy who wrote the book said like, you ask this, let's say Charlie, you ask Charlie, how old do you think we are? And Charlie responds, we're 5 years old, and then Charlie was like, got the aha moment when like, hey, I'm a 40-plus-year-old man, to calm these voices. It's very fascinating, actually.
You used the word protector, and the flip side of protector is projector, and that's exactly where I want to go in this podcast. I mean, if you face something that you really fear, it can really help in zooming of concentrating on the bigger picture. What is it that where you want to go? Let's say you have a fear of flying. Are you not going to fly? If you zoom on the moments that you're going to have, if you reflect it on being with family or friends or having this unique experience, that can level out the fear of flying, because you're basically replacing it. So using instead of listening to the protector, focusing on the projector, the one that they say, okay, I need this. This is a stepping stone to where I need to go. That's a cool thing. Projector, protector. Have to give credits to the guys from Speaker Labs who gave me this. But
I
okay,
think we talked, didn't we do an episode on this?
projector, protector. Yeah, we spoke about this in a slightly different context. But the key thing here is by listening, listening to your body and your brain where the problem is. So something is vibrating wrong. It's not there is something. What is draining? What is keeping you from your natural flow? So there is something to have techniques to basically go there and not just be right in fight or flight mode, but let's say, what is it? What is it that I need to know? What is it that needs to be done? There's immense value in that. And then before these barriers become permanent, look at what internal conflict is needed to let these blockage go. So before they lead to anxiety and tension, zoom out, rewrap it, play with it, make fun of some of the jokes. Like, yeah, hey, the world is
And
gonna
maybe it
stop.
goes away. Yeah.
We prepping for this. I looked in my agenda. I looked 5 years ago and trying to figure out what was keeping me up at night 5 years ago. It's really hard. You can get the larger things, relatives that are ill or things like that, but the nitty gritty is all gone. I mean, things that occupy us now will likely not be in your mind anywhere in 5 years. So, and life is short. We're here in a short period of time. So, yeah, make it worthwhile.
This is why
Yeah,
you have your gratitude rocks. This, like,
yeah.
for me, like, kind of thinking about like something that is something stressing me out, and will I remember this? Will this is this a thing to be remembered? Because most of the time, the big problem of the moment 6 months ago, 6 months later, we can't even remember this giant problem that we had. By the way, on the topic of fear of flying, if any of you is scared of flying, a friend of mine who's also a managing happiness guide, he is a coach to remove fear of flight, and he does this in one, maximum 2 sessions, and your fear is completely gone after this. He kind of walks you, it's like some technique where he walks you backwards through the worst case scenario. You're in a plane and something goes wrong, kind of, and you mentally go backwards to this scenario, and then it's gone. And I've sent them a few friends who had this fear and it completely evaporated. So if you uh, are scared of flying, just please contact me. I'll put you in touch with Heiko Franzen, and yeah, he can make it go
Is
away.
can you Are you familiar with his technique, and is it applicable to other areas? So can you what's the magic ingredient in his approach? How is this technique that he uses applicable in other areas as well?
I mean, technically, I think it could also work for being scared of public speaking, etc. Technically, I think this could work in other areas as well. His main focus is the fear of flying, but yeah, technically, it should work with others as well.
Talking about public speaking, anxiety and excitement, it can really be an easy exercise, a combination with breathing and putting your mind where you want to go. And think of the times that people stabbed you in the back because of you said too much or had a long pause. It's not going to happen. So you might as well enjoy it and look at the big picture. So that actually is quite doable. Should you stop and hey, enjoy the moment instead of being frozen by fear. Okay, well, um, any personal withdrawals from the story bank on this topic?
One thing in terms of fear, because fear is not only a bad thing, it can also be a catalyst or something that pushes you to do something. And I use it every time when Yurda asks me to do something around the house because I hate it with a passion. Um, and I start out of fear because I really don't like it, and I start because I do it because I don't want to have conflict with her. But then I switch to love because I want to make our place nicer and I want to make Yurda happy. And this is yeah, I guess kind of play the switch, use it to get your butt off the couch, and then yeah, that's my mini story bank story.
Yeah, not a personal one. A nice story that always, yeah, I kept in my mind was the how the people at NASA in the 50s were able to put a man on the moon. I mean, with the first claim of Kennedy, we're going to put a man on the moon in 10 years. How the hell was that possible? Because that was total bullshit when he said it. And that was their whole culture there was that people were all aligned. If you would ask a janitor in a high school, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm probably mopping the floors, or at least I'm trying to stay alive because this pays my bills." If you would ask a janitor at NASA at the time, he said, "What are you doing?" He probably would have said, "We're
Yes,
putting a
I'm
man on
putting
the
a
moon."
rocket on the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's the there's a version of the bricklayers. What are you doing? Are you I'm laying bricks, or the next one may say, I'm building a wall. The next thing, the other guy could say, I'm building a church, and the other one could say, I'm creating a dream. It depends. Let's say you're working on Gaudi's church. Are you laying bricks, or are you creating a dream? So by taking time to visualize in your head what it is you're doing, and how the bigger picture is, that makes your work not work, but your mission. And if you cannot do that, if that connection between passion and skills and what you do is lost for too long, then definitely it will build up to a level that it's no longer sustainable. You have to get out of there. And
It's this is why I think it's so important that you have in your business you have a clear mission and vision that's inspiring, that people think like, yeah, I'm part of something bigger. I'm
yeah,
doing something amazing here. And
yeah,
same with your personal mission. Like if you're like, things suck. If you think I'm just like putting one foot in front of the other versus like, hey, I have like this big mission that I want to accomplish in my life, and it's actually exciting to do that. So I think
this
that's
mission is don't think we ever done a session on that, so that calls for a session of its own. So I see on the clock that I think it's a good moment to wrap this one up. Thank you very much.
yes.
We love comments and suggestions on books, on people to invite for the podcast. If you want topics, please leave them as comments, and we will definitely do something with that. And hope to see you as soon as possible. Thank you, David.
Rock and roll.
Cheers.
Yes, thank you, Eduard. And again, the plug: if you're scared of flying, email me david@henzel.com, and I'll connect you with Heiko too, so we can get rid of this fear. Rock and roll.
Ciao.
See you soon.